Hello, I'm Lauren, and this is Improving the World. I'm an international improviser based in Hong Kong, and I speak with amazing women who do improv all over the world. Today, I speak with Justine Beukes. She is a South African in South Africa doing improv. We talk about her journey from never having done it at all to very quickly ramping up, getting in the deep end, and doing lots of improv, all the improv. P.S. Coronavirus, hashtag we're all at home. The internet did not love us. Please be patient. Enjoy. Hi, Justine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm so good. Really happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Good to have you. You are someone who, in a quite quick journey like here, has gone from just a couple of years ago, not having ever been to an improv show, to shifting over to the complete other side of the spectrum, where you nosedived into improv and you are swimming heavily in the waters, directing and playing and teaching abroad. Tell me about the first improv show that you saw.
Okay, cool. So a friend of mine, Brett, had been harboring on about his improv shows on Facebook for months, maybe even years, actually. And I kept, in the back of my mind, like, one of these days I'll go to one of Brett's shows, one of these days. And then just never really did until about 4 years ago. And sat there and watched this show and was just absolutely awestruck. It was a theatre sports show, and one of the games they played was No Letter E, and I was just absolutely on the edge of my seat the whole time and amazed that these people could speak in full sentences without using the letter E. Just so cool. Yeah, and then from that point for a good few months, I think I was there at that theatre sports show every Monday night, just absolutely loving it.
Well, we love that. What was it, can I ask, that was so enthralling? I mean, there are so many different mediums that we can go watch. There's film and TV and live theater, and within live theater, so much. What was it about improv that kind of yanked you and pulled you in and just made you watch attentively?
Apart from the fact that it was a lot more accessible than conventional theatre, right? So like, a conventional theatre show in South Africa, it's just really expensive. But an improv theatre show was just a lot more accessible than one of the big theatre productions that happen on this side. But apart from that, it was also the spontaneity of it all, just hit all the right notes with me. But also there was physicality that the players embodied on stage, which just was wonderful. There were accents, there were musical numbers. So in any one show, you would see this amazing physical theatre, but also would be really funny, but also they'd sing sometimes, but also they were really smart and remembered stuff. So it was just like all these notes in the short space of 1 hour that were just being hit. I just was absolutely spellbound by it.
Well, thank you to your friend. What's your friend called? Brett?
Yeah, Brett Anderson.
Thank you, Brett Anderson. We appreciate it for bringing us Justine. You gave her the Kool-Aid and she drank it. How did you make the choice to then, so you're watching the show, you're going every week and you're like, this is my jam, loving this. How did you then transition from watching to thinking, I'm going to go to a workshop, I'm going to give this a shot?
There's one moment that I can identify, and it was a scene where the players were speaking in Dr. Seuss rhyme.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a preschool teacher as my day job. I love reading Dr. Seuss. And so when they were improvising Dr. Seuss rhyme, I thought, hold on.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Oh.
That's not that hard. And then I think a couple of days later, an 8-week improv for life course was advertised. And I was like, oh, well, it's not that hard. It's just talking in Dr. Seuss rhyme. Okay, I can do that. And decided to take the plunge and do the 8-week intensive course.
I love that there was this singular moment that just hooked you and got you, and it took rhyming. That's so beautiful to me. I really enjoy that. Okay, so you go along and you are doing this 8-week course. You're going, hey, you know what? I like this. This is enjoyable. And then you choose to do a performance. So what was it like now within a swift period of time, going from never having seen a show to getting on stage? And what was that first performance like?
That first performance, I just invited everybody. I was like, guys, I'm doing a showcase and you should all come and it's going to be rad. Yeah, I suppose it had been drummed into me in the course that failure was a good thing and that if you fail, it's okay because it means that you tried something. And that was really a message that from the duration of my short time going to improv classes, I'd really internalized that, oh, failing's good. Oh, it's okay for me to fail. Oh, okay, well then everybody should come and watch me fail. So, so I just invited all the people, and a few people came, and I was suitably nervous, like, I don't know, a million butterflies in my belly, hectic. But I got on stage and I didn't embarrass myself. And nobody came up to me afterwards and was like, you should be ashamed of yourself for what you did in there tonight. No, everybody was like, yeah, well done. And the audience was totally on our side. And it was just so much fun. And I just thought, okay, I think this might be what I do now.
Oh, I like that thought. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? You quite rightly said something, which is that the audience is on your side. And it's so funny because I think that quite usually, I would say 99.9% of the time, they're rooting for you, especially if they have ever seen improv, or even if they haven't and they're just there in the dark sitting to see what happens. They get that we don't know what's going to happen either. And so there's this suspension of judgment a bit for a minute, where we're just willing to go, okay, well, if you don't know and I don't know, and let's all just go on this journey together. That is really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. In my mind, that's one of the main differences between improv and stand-ups. Stand-ups kind of have to win the audience over, whereas in improv, when we get on stage, we've kind of already won half the battle.
I think you're quite right. So now you think, okay, maybe this is a thing that I do. Skip to today. You are more immersed. You're doing everything, including directing and touring around. What was the swift little journey from this light bulb moment to now?
I wish I could tell you that it's been a journey of very little self-doubt, but that's not the case at all. Fortunately, I did my first showcase and then I just kept on going to the classes. After 6 months, I was invited to audition for the Long Shots, which is the team that I am a part of now. And the way that it was phrased was that it's an audition workshop. So I thought, I'm going to a workshop about auditions. So it was never in my brain that like I'm auditioning for the Long Shots. It was just like, oh, I'm going to an audition workshop. Yeah, why not? They asked me to come. I think they're cool. All right. And I think it was only a couple of weeks into this auditioning process that I realized what was actually happening.
Sweet,
and mercifully, I think had I known, I would have gotten totally in my head and just freaked out. And so when the invitation came for me to join the group, I was completely dumbstruck. Okay, let's do that. All right. And then the way that I started teaching improv was also this gradual, oh, we really need somebody to teach class this week and you're the only person who can do it. And I thought, okay. And that's how I taught my first class.
No pressure. Okay.
No pressure. No, it was just like, Justine, save the day. I'm like, okay. And I had the time of my life. Teaching improv is one of the most fun things I do in my life. I had so much fun teaching that first class that I just wanted to do it again and again and again. Everything that I find myself currently doing kind of feels like I fell into it. Thank goodness it was all fairly low stakes moments that didn't end badly.
Yeah. You said you'd love to tell me that it was just kind of an easy ride, but that there was self-doubt along the way. Was that about the getting up on stage? I guess it wasn't the auditioning process because you didn't know you were auditioning. But was it about being on stage, or was it about the teaching? Where for you was self-doubt creeping in and the voices in the back of the head were going?
Definitely the root of that was in comparison. So when I looked around at the other people in the community who were doing improv and doing it well, they were kind of at hero status in my mind for the longest time. It was quite difficult to ever consider myself a peer or somebody that could contribute. It was like looking at them and going, oh my gosh, you guys are next level, wonderful, amazing. And I don't know that I'll ever get to that place, you know? Very much the root of it was in comparison. And I think when it comes to performing, I very much had to learn or be disciplined with myself. And it was a struggle in the beginning that I was constantly stepping onto stage looking for validation from the audience. So you step onto stage and you go, I need them to laugh and I need them to think that this is cool and I need them to think everything is amazing. And you're only as good as your last show, you know, and you're only as good as how many laughs you got in that show or whatever. And I think that can sometimes be quite a destructive mentality to have, or for me it certainly was. So kind of had to learn that I need to step onto stage already validated. So with it already in my mind that I have got things to contribute and that I have got valuable insights and ideas and offers to give. Becoming more concrete in that thought process really helped with the nerves that I experienced a lot in the beginning, and the comparison being thief of joy in the beginning.
Yeah. Interesting. And when you were starting, were there other women that you could look up to as well, these heroes or heroines, or was it just gents who were up on stage or performing?
There were definitely heroes or heroines that could be looked up to, but only kind of two that I was regularly sharing a rehearsal space with or regularly sharing a stage with. That was about the extent of it.
Where do you get to improvise now? Where do you get to meet all these lovely improv people?
We'll just go with improv that I've done in the last 4 months because it's quite an interesting question. One of my main modes of being able to do improv is with my team, the Long Shots. There are 11 of us. Yeah, we're quite a big team. Yeah. And they are definitely some of the most wonderful humans that you could ever encounter. They're great. And we do regular long form shows, a lot of stuff like the Armando or an apartment block, that kind of thing. We specialize in long form. Another avenue of performing is at the Courtyard Playhouse in Cape Town. At the Courtyard Playhouse, I do a lot of stuff like Maestro, which is a Keith Johnston format, or improvised PowerPoints. I think some people call it PowerPoint karaoke, speechless, whatever. That's my favorite. That is just the absolute most fun I think I've ever had doing improv. And then most recently in Cape Town, we just had the Mama City Improv Festival, which is a 5-day long festival with improvisers from all over the world. So we just had that just before, stuff got real with COVID-19. And then in December, I was performing and teaching at the Courtyard Playhouse in Dubai. That's a lot of improv now that I say it out loud.
Yeah. And do you find that when you go overseas, somewhere like Dubai versus where you are in SA, and you meet different improv people who have their own different backgrounds as humans, but also in terms of improv and their training and the kind of work that they're doing, that you have an easy way of meshing in and having a chat? Or are people coming from very disparate directions? What do you think?
Okay, so the experience that I had going to most recently Dubai, for example, it's just like you instantly have this group of friends that it's like instant friend just add improv. There's all this shared language, and I think in improv there's very much the ethos of encouraging each other, right, and building each other up and using your words to speak life. I particularly found that in Dubai, of this amazing wave of support and encouragement that come from these people that you've never met before, but all of a sudden you're all best of friends because you've got this one niche thing, which is playing pretend on stage, like in common. It's so wonderful, and always has been a similar thing with our improv festivals that we have in Cape Town. We've got people who come from Australia, the UK, from Canada, Phoenix, Arizona, wherever that is. And there's this sudden mutual respect and mutual language and mutual passion and love for something, and it definitely just has this really cool way of bringing people together. Some of my favorite people in the whole world are improvisers from other parts of the world.
I hear that for sure. For me, I find as well that beyond sharing a stage or being in a workshop together, that, as you said, I can easily click in like puzzle pieces that were always meant to be together but didn't know that they should be, with other improvisers, regardless of their other world perspectives, which I may not even know about, because of this shared concept and, as you said, the ethos. So I recently was in Riga, Latvia, and I met up with the group. We just sat down for a drink, and it was like instant friends. It was so gorgeous because we could sit and chat without having to go through like, so tell me about yourself. And there just wasn't pretension or awkward getting into it. It was just auto easy and so lovely. And I feel like I could go back right now and just hang out with them. And I've only met them once,
We love it. In Cape Town, it happens often that there'll be an improviser here from elsewhere in the world, not even for improv, just on holiday. And they look and see, oh, what improv's happening in Cape Town. And then we hang out with people from Cuba and people from Chicago, or people from New York, or people from, we've also had a Latvian actually come down. always exciting. It's like, oh, there's an improviser here. How cool. Have drinks and have dinner, and it's great.
Justine, if you had to share words of wisdom with people, if you could talk to the younger version of you or your improv peers or someone who's never tried improv before, they are the voyeur, they maybe haven't been to a show, maybe they have, what are your words of wisdom?
Main words of wisdom would be that if you're nervous, it's a good thing. If you're nervous about going to a class, or if you're nervous about getting on stage, don't let that stop you. Let it be the fire underneath you. If it's a good thing, it doesn't mean that you should let the fear stop you from doing it. It means that what you're about to do really matters. The other thing is, don't be afraid to bring yourself to the stage. You don't have to completely be somebody else or pretend to completely be somebody else. Bring your own observations and lived experience and your own relationships to the stage, because what you've got to contribute in those areas, you're the only person who can. And don't be afraid to fail.
I'm so glad that someone said that to you in early days. And I mean, of course it should be said, but the fact that it stuck with you and that it implanted itself to the back of your psyche such that it helped pull you into improv, I think is so crucial. Thank you to the person and or people behind this consistent messaging. I think it's really nice. Justine, if people want to watch you perform, if they want to have you come and teach, if they want to throw money at you, buy you coffee or other liquids that you choose to imbibe, how can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My handle is Justine Led the Army, which is also my email address, justineledthearmy@gmail.com.
Okay.
And you can catch me performing with the Long Shots, and we have a Facebook page, the Long Shots Improvised Comedy Troupe. You could probably catch me anytime at the Courtyard Playhouse in Cape Town.
Nice one. Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. It was so lovely to chat with you and hear your story. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Oh, anytime. This is Improving the World. I'm Lauren, and there's more where that came from. See you later. Bye. Did you love the video? If you did, please say kind and wonderful things in the comments down below, and subscribe if you are feeling fancy. And look for more Improving the World. Thanks.